Okay, so today we are going deep diving into names.
Ooh.
You might be thinking names,
Yeah.
but trust me,
Okay.
there is so much to discover here.
Yeah.
How they're formed, how they change,
Right.
and the unexpected power they hold.
It's fascinating. Names are like little time capsules of culture and history. They reflect languages, migration patterns, even our own psychology.
So it's not just what we're called, it's
Yeah.
what our names reveal
Yeah.
about the world around us.
Yeah. For instance, like in China,
Okay.
it's common to have the family name first.
Huh.
And because there are a limited number of those,
Yeah.
they have this huge HEE variety of given names
Oh, wow.
to help distinguish people, a totally different system than we use in English.
Yeah, I never even realized that about Chinese names.
Yeah.
That makes you wonder how these systems even develop in the first place.
Yeah.
What about other cultures? Are there any other naming conventions
Oh, there are tons.
that are really different?
Well, if we look at Polish names, we can see the influence of Slavic languages.
Oh, yeah?
They often have these complex sounds and their surnames.
Okay.
They're frequently linked to professions, places, or family lines.
Like a built-in genealogy record.
It is, yeah.
So like if your last name was Kowalski,
Uh-huh.
you might be able to trace your family back to
Exactly.
a long line of blacksmiths.
That's right.
That's so cool. It's like each culture has its own name recipe.
I like that, yeah.
But then there's also the whole language thing.
Right.
How does the language itself affect
Yeah.
the way names sound?
It's fundamental.
Okay.
The sounds of a language directly influence the sounds we find in names.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Like a linguistic fingerprint.
Mm-hmm.
What about grammar? I remember reading something about
Yeah.
grammatical gender affecting names.
Yeah, it can definitely play a role.
But I'll be honest, it went totally over my head.
Okay, sure.
Could you maybe break that down a bit?
Of course. So, for example,
Okay.
in Spanish, the word for friend is amigo, if you're talking about a male friend.
Right.
But it's amiga for a female friend.
Right.
That same gender distinction can extend to names.
Okay.
So the form of a name itself can change,
Interesting.
depending on whether it's considered masculine or feminine in that language's grammar.
Ah, okay. So the grammar of a language can actually change the name itself,
Uh-huh.
not just how it's used.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Mhm.
So we've got culture influencing names, language shaping their sounds,
Right.
but these things aren't static,
That's right.
are they?
No.
Names evolve over time, right?
Absolutely. They're like time travelers.
Okay.
They change over centuries.
Yeah.
Migration, conquest, changing social norms.
Can you give me a specific example of how that works?
Well, let's consider English surnames.
Okay.
Many of them started as simple descriptions, like Smith came from blacksmith, Baker from baker,
Yeah.
and so on.
Right, right.
Others came from places like Hill or Wood. And then you have the son of names,
Oh, yeah.
like Johnson, meaning son of John.
So basically, our ancestors were just super practical.
I guess you could say that, yeah.
But how did those simple descriptions turn into the last names we have today?
Over time, those origins became less obvious, and the names became hereditary, passed down from generation to generation.
So your last name may not just be a name.
Right.
It could be a direct link to a
Exactly.
long-forgotten family trade,
Yeah,
a hidden piece of your personal history.
precisely. And speaking of history, have you ever wondered about the
Right.
origin of your own last name?
That's a good point.
Yeah,
I'm definitely going to have to do some digging after this.
I think you should.
We've talked about all these external factors
Yeah.
that shape names,
Right.
but I feel like there's a deeply personal side to it.
Oh, absolutely.
Isn't there?
Yeah,
Our names are so intertwined with who we are.
you're absolutely right. A name is profoundly connected to our identity, how we see ourselves,
Right.
how others perceive us.
Yeah.
Even the sound of a name can trigger certain feelings. Some names sound inherently pleasing, while others might sound harsh or unpleasant, depending on our personal and cultural associations.
It really makes you think about the unintended consequences
Yeah.
of a seemingly simple choice, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a parent might choose a name
Right?
because they like the way it sounds,
Yeah.
but they may not be thinking about the impact
Yeah.
that name might have on their child's life down the road.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
And it's worth noting that there are other reasons why someone might have negative feelings towards their name.
Okay.
Maybe they were teased or bullied about it.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Or perhaps it carries a negative association
Yeah.
with a particular person or event. Yeah.
Sometimes it's simply the difficulty of pronunciation or spelling that creates frustration.
Those are all very valid reasons. I
Yeah.
imagine for some people, changing their name could be a powerful way to reclaim their identity
Right.
and find something that feels more authentic.
Exactly.
Almost like shedding an old skin
Mhm.
that no longer fits.
It's about taking ownership of who you are
right.
and how you want to be seen in the world.
So we've explored the personal level,
Okay.
but names also play a significant role in society as a whole,
Right.
don't they?
Absolutely.
It's not just about individual identity.
If we connect this to the bigger picture,
Yeah.
names are essential for social cohesion.
Mm.
They allow us to identify and distinguish
Right.
individuals within a group.
It's true.
Right.
Imagine trying to have a conversation if everyone was just called, "Hey, you."
Exactly.
Total chaos.
And beyond that,
Okay.
names also play a key role in cultural transmission.
They often carry information about
Yeah.
family history, traditions, and beliefs, passing them down through generations.
So we've got social cohesion, cultural storytelling,
Mm-hmm.
and it all ties back to
Yeah,
shaping individual identity
Yeah.
too, right?
absolutely.
Our names become part of our
Right.
personal narratives, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And all of this has an impact on our social and emotional well-being.
Okay.
Having a positive relationship with your name
Hmm.
can boost self-esteem and create a sense of belonging. On the other hand, negative associations with your name
Yeah.
can have a detrimental impact
Oh,
on your emotional well-being.
wow. That's something I never really considered before.
It's amazing.
It's amazing how much weight
It is.
something as seemingly simple as a name can carry.
It is quite fascinating.
Well, I, for one, am feeling very enlightened.
Good. I'm glad.
This is why I love these deep dives.
Yeah.
We take something we think we know, and suddenly we're seeing this whole universe of complexity underneath.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Now I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Okay.
What stands out to you most about what we've discussed so far?
You know what really strikes me
Mm.
is how much our names
Yeah.
can impact how other people perceive us even before they meet us.
Right.
We talked about the name pronunciation effect earlier.
Yeah.
It's a little unsettling
Yeah.
to think that our names can create these instant biases, even if those biases aren't accurate.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder how much our names might influence how we're treated in the world,
Right.
sometimes without us even realizing it.
That's a very astute observation. It's a complex issue, and there's a growing awareness of the need to address these biases.
Okay.
For example, some companies are now using blind recruitment processes where they remove names
Okay.
from job applications to reduce unconscious bias during hiring.
It's certainly a step in the right direction,
Right.
but it highlights how deeply ingrained these societal perceptions can be.
Yeah.
It does make you wonder, though,
Hmm.
if those same biases might creep in at other points
Yeah.
during the hiring process,
Right.
even if the initial screening is blind.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah.
It is possible that unconscious bias could still influence later stages
Yeah.
of the hiring process,
Mm.
even with blind recruitment.
Right.
However, I think it's important to recognize that blind recruitment is just one tool
Yep.
among many
Yeah.
that can be used to address this complex issue.
Right.
The ultimate goal is to create a more equitable and just society
Yeah.
where everyone has an equal opportunity
Yeah.
to succeed,
Mm.
regardless of their name or background.
That's a great point.
Mm.
It's not just about eliminating bias
Right.
in one specific area. It's about changing
Uh-huh.
the way we think about people
Yeah,
and valuing diversity in all its forms.
absolutely.
And maybe, just maybe, by becoming more aware
Yeah.
of the power our names hold,
Mm-hmm.
we can start to challenge
Right.
those biases
Yeah.
and create a more inclusive world for everyone.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Awareness is the first step towards positive change.
Mm.
And on that note, let's shift gears a bit
Okay.
and explore another fascinating aspect of names,
Okay.
their role in branding and marketing.
Ooh, this should be interesting.
Yeah.
I've always been curious
Yeah.
about how companies come up with those catchy names
Mm-hmm.
that stick in our heads. It's like some brand names are so iconic
Yeah.
that they're practically synonymous
It's
with the product itself.
It's no accident.
Mm.
Companies spend millions of dollars researching and developing brand names that are memorable, catchy, and evoke specific emotions. Think about some of the most recognizable brand names out there, like Google, Apple, Nike. These names are more than just identifiers. They're carefully crafted marketing tools designed to create a strong brand identity and influence consumer behavior.
That's like a secret weapon in the marketing arsenal. So it's not just personal names that have this kind of power.
That's right.
It extends to the names we give to products, companies, even ideas.
Precisely. Names are fundamental building blocks of communication, and they shape how we perceive and interact with the world around us, from the names we give our children to the names we use for scientific discoveries or political movements. Names have the power to influence our thoughts, emotions, and actions in profound ways.
It's credible to think about.
It is.
The ripple effects a single name can have. It really highlights the importance of choosing names carefully, whether we're talking about personal names, brand names, or anything else.
Absolutely. Names are not just words. They are vessels of meaning, history, and culture. They have the power to connect us, to inspire us, and to shape our understanding of the world. It's a topic that deserves our attention and respect.
I couldn't agree more. So, dear listeners, I hope you're starting to see why names are so much more than just labels. They're windows into language, history, culture, and even our own sense of self.
Well said. Now let's take a brief pause. And when we return, we'll delve even deeper into this fascinating world of names. Exploring the psychology of naming, the impact of names on our lives, and the future of naming in a rapidly changing world.
I can't wait. Welcome back. I'm still thinking about how much weight a name can carry. It's not just about sounding nice.
No.
It's about all these cultural and psychological factors.
Exactly. And now we're going to dig even deeper into the psychology behind names. You'd be surprised how much a name can affect our individual experiences.
Have you ever met someone and thought, their name just doesn't fit them at all?
Oh, yeah.
Or like maybe you felt like your own name didn't quite match who you are.
That feeling is very relatable. Our relationship with our own names is incredibly complex and personal. For many, it's a source of pride and identity, a reflection of their family history and cultural heritage. But for others, it can be a source of frustration, embarrassment, or even a feeling of disconnect from who they truly are.
I can definitely relate to that. I went through a phase in high school where I felt like my name was too common. And I really wanted something more unique. I even tried to get people to call me by a nickname for a while.
It's a common experience, especially during adolescence, when we're exploring our identities and how we fit into the world. Some people find that changing their name, whether it's adopting a nickname, changing the spelling, or even legally changing it, can be a powerful way to reclaim their identity and find something that feels more authentic to them.
It's almost like they're shedding a skin that no longer fits.
Exactly.
And stepping into a new one that's more aligned with who they are now.
It highlights the fact that our names are not static labels. They can evolve and change along with our lives and identities.
You know, it's interesting how much our names can affect how other people perceive us, even before they've met us. We were talking about the name pronunciation effect earlier, and it made me think about how some games seem to carry certain stereotypes with them. It's like, even if you don't intend to judge someone based on their name, those unconscious biases can still be there.
You've hit on a crucial point. Research has shown that we make assumptions about people based solely on their names, from personality traits to intelligence, and even attractiveness.
Wow.
It's fascinating, albeit sometimes troubling aspect of human psychology.
But wouldn't you say that sometimes giving a child a super unique name could backfire? And lead to teasing or difficulty in certain situations?
That's a valid concern. It's a delicate balance between wanting your child to have a name that reflects their individuality and being mindful of potential social challenges they might face. Ultimately, the most important thing is that the name feels right for the child and the family. There's no one-size-fits-all answer when it comes to naming.
So what about the future of naming?
Oh, that's a big question.
With globalization, technology, evolving social norms. I wonder how names are going to change in the years to come.
That's a fascinating question.
Do you have any predictions?
It's like peering into a crystal ball and trying to predict the linguistic trends of tomorrow.
Yeah.
But based on what we're seeing now, I think we can expect even more diversity in names as globalization continues to bring cultures and languages closer together. Parents are increasingly drawing inspiration from all corners of the globe, leading to some truly unique and interesting name choices.
I love that. It's like the world is becoming this giant melting pot.
I agree.
Of names, which I think is pretty awesome.
It reflects an increasingly interconnected world. And technology is also playing a huge role in shaping the future of naming. With the rise of social media and the internet. People have access to a massive amount of information about names from different cultures and languages.
Like having a global name library at our fingertips.
And technology is also changing how we think about names. For example, there's a growing trend towards gender-neutral or non-binary names, reflecting a shift towards more inclusive and fluid understandings of gender identity.
That's a really positive development.
It is.
It's like names are becoming more reflective of the diversity of human experience.
Precisely. And I think this trend will continue as we move towards a more equitable and accepting society.
Okay, so globalization, technology, evolving social norms are influencing the future of naming.
Anything else we should keep in mind?
Well, there's a growing awareness of the importance of cultural sensitivity and respect when it comes to naming. As our world becomes more interconnected, it's crucial to be mindful of the origins and meanings of names from different cultures and to avoid appropriating or misusing them.
That's a great point. Our names are not just words. They carry history, culture, and significance.
Exactly.
And it's important to treat them with respect. We need to be thoughtful about the choices we make, both for ourselves and for our children.
Absolutely. And I think that's a perfect segue into our next topic. We've talked about how other people perceive our names and how we feel about our own names. But what about those special names that we give to people we're close to? Nicknames.
Nicknames are fascinating.
They can be terms of endearment, funny inside jokes, or even playful insults. And they can really strengthen the bond between people.
You're exactly right. Nicknames often reveal a level of intimacy and familiarity that goes beyond formal names. Think about it. You probably wouldn't give a nickname to someone you just met. It takes a certain level of closeness and shared experience to earn a nickname.
And sometimes nicknames can even become more commonly used than our actual names. I have a friend who goes by a nickname exclusively. I don't even think some people know her real name.
That's a great example of how fluid and adaptable names can be. They're not static labels. They evolve and change with our relationships and experiences.
So it's not just our given names that shape our identities. It's also the names that other people give us.
That's right.
It's like a collaborative process.
That's a very insightful way to put it. It shows how interconnected our identities are with our relationships and the communities we belong to. And with that in mind, let's take a moment to shift gears and explore a different but equally fascinating aspect of names. Their impact on our lives beyond just our personal identity.
I'm intrigued. What else can names tell us?
Well, let's talk about the role of names in shaping narratives and perceptions on a larger scale. Think about the names we give to historical events, social movements, even natural disasters.
Right.
These names can carry a lot of weight and can significantly influence how we understand and remember these events.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Like the Great Depression sounds way more dramatic and impactful than if we just called it the economic downturn of the 1930s.
Right. Yeah.
The name itself evokes a sense of hardship and despair.
Exactly. Names have the power to shape our collective memory and understanding of the past. They can also be used to promote certain agendas or ideologies.
Right.
Think about how political campaigns carefully craft slogans and labels to influence voters.
It's like a form of linguistic warfare.
It is, yeah.
Words are weapons, and names are some of the most powerful weapons in the arsenal.
That's a powerful way to put it. And it brings up another important point.
Okay.
The potential for names to be used for harmful purposes?
Right.
Think about how names have been used to dehumanize groups of people or to perpetuate negative stereotypes.
That's a sobering thought.
It is.
It's a reminder that words have power, and that power can be used for good or for evil.
Yeah.
It's up to us to be mindful of how we use language, including names, and to challenge those who use it, to spread hate and division.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
We have a responsibility to use our words and our names in a way that promotes understanding, empathy, and respect for all.
Well said. This whole conversation has really made me think about names in a whole new light.
Good, I'm glad.
It's amazing how something we often take for granted can be so complex and multifaceted.
I'm glad you feel that way.
Yeah.
It's been a joy exploring this topic with you. Now let's pause for a moment, and when we return, we'll wrap up our deep dive into the world of names.
Okay.
With some fun and fascinating trivia.
I can't wait. All right, so we're back and ready for some fun. You know, I love a good trivia night, so hit me with some of those fascinating name facts you mentioned earlier.
I'm sure you'll be intrigued to learn that in Iceland, they have a government-appointed naming committee.
A naming committee?
They actually approve or reject baby names.
What?
Based on whether they fit into Icelandic language and cultural traditions.
Wait, seriously? There's like a name police?
Kind of.
In Iceland?
Yeah.
That's wild. I wonder what happens if your name gets rejected.
Well, parents can appeal the decision. Or they can choose a different name that fits the criteria. It's all about preserving the linguistic and cultural integrity of the Icelandic language.
I can see why that would be important to them.
Yeah.
What other interesting name customs are out there?
Let's travel to Russia. Where they have a unique patronymic naming system. It's basically a middle name that's derived from the father's first name. And it's used in both formal and informal settings.
So it's like having a built-in family tree.
Exactly.
Right in your name.
Yeah.
I can see how that would be really helpful for genealogy research.
It's a fascinating way of honoring lineage and family connections.
Yeah.
Now, let's shift our focus to Nigeria, where names often hold deep meanings and reflect the circumstances surrounding a child's birth. For instance, a child born during a time of hardship might be named Yetunde, which means mother has returned, or mother is sweet again.
Wow, that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like the name itself carries a powerful message of strength and optimism.
It symbolizes hope and resilience.
Yeah, it reminds us that names can be so much more than just identifiers. They could be vessels of hope, resilience, and cultural values.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
They offer a glimpse into the heart and soul of a culture.
Okay, I'm ready for another one.
Okay.
You mentioned some cultures where names aren't necessarily fixed for life.
Right.
Can you tell me more about that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
In some indigenous cultures of the Americas, names are not fixed for life. They can actually change throughout a person's life to reflect their accomplishments, experiences, or spiritual growth. So you might have one name as a child,
Okay.
another as a young adult,
Right.
and yet another as an elder.
That's a really powerful concept.
Yeah.
It challenges our traditional Western understanding of names
Right.
as fixed labels
Uh-huh.
and opens up this whole new way of thinking
Yeah.
about identity and self-expression.
I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Because it really speaks to the heart of what we've been exploring today.
Yeah.
The incredible power and complexity of names.
This deep dive has been such an eye-opening experience.
Yeah, it's been fun.
I feel like I've gained a whole new appreciation for the significance of names.
I'm delighted to hear that.
Yeah, it's amazing how something we encounter every day can hold so much depth and meaning.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Sharing this journey of discovery with you.
So to all our listeners out there, the next time you hear a name, take a moment to consider the story it might be telling.
Right.
You might be surprised by the richness and complexity you uncover.
And remember, your own name
Yeah.
holds a story, too.
Yeah.
It's a reflection of your history, your culture,
Right.
and your unique journey through life.
Right.
Embrace it, explore it,
Yeah.
and let it empower you to be your most authentic self.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of names, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
If you could choose a new name for yourself, one that truly reflects who you are at your core,
Right.
what would it be and why?
That's a good question.
Share your thoughts with us on social media. We'd love to hear your stories.
It's been a joy exploring this topic with you all.
Yeah.
Until next time, stay curious about the power of names.
And remember, there's always more to discover.
This is DigitView.